Hi guys, we are online. We are live stream. I'm the last time I made a live on YouTube was like 3 or 4 years ago, so I'm not very used to this thing anymore. I hope you can. English is not my first language, so I will try my best to speak in English because I want to reach the bigger audience, and of course, the biggest audience is English. Uh, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me. I'm a real estate agent, uh, and I live here in Dallas, Texas. As you can see on the background of this video, this is like Dallas, Texas in cyberpunk style. But I'm also a real estate agent, a commercial real estate agent with EXP Commercial. So in this channel, we will be speaking or talking about real estate topics. Most of it, we are going to discuss some projects, some news about real estate, commercial real estate, and also my specialty in real estate, in commercial real estate, it's industrial and office as well. Uh, and also, I have a focus on the nearshoring. For all of you that haven't heard about nearshoring, it's relocating all manufacturing from China to the US and Mexico. So we will be talking uh, many topics about nearshoring, and so in this section, I live streaming now. We will be talking with an AI. I found an exciting new AI from Google that you can feed with information, and then the AI makes like a kind of podcast, and it's very amazing. I'm just very amazed about that, and I feel I feed the AI with many information about real estate, with market reports about Dallas, and also with some videos and information about the new Dallas Fort Worth Airport Expansion. Uh, so the AI will have a conversation between two AIs. Well, the same AI, but it's like a woman and a man uh, talking together. But there's also a new feature in this software that you can join the conversation. So that's what I'm doing this live because I will be playing the audio with the AI talking about the topic, and you can formulate questions, any questions in the chat, and the AI will be answering uh, those questions. If I can answer that question, I can be answering that question too. So let's gonna start with it. Let me play this thing.
All right, so we're diving deep into DFW Airport's plans for expansion. You guys sent us a really interesting mix of sources for this. We've got news articles and the airport's own website, but also some industrial real estate data. That's an interesting combo. A lot to unpack here.
It does seem like you're interested in not just, how to catch your next flight, but like the wider economic impact. And that's smart. These kinds of infrastructure projects can be like their own little economies reflecting larger trends.
Absolutely. So I guess maybe the biggest news for like people who actually fly through DFW is the new terminal,
Right?
Terminal F,
Yeah.
adding 24 gates when you count it, and the renovations to Terminal C, more gates. You would think that would mean more flights, potentially more places to go, maybe even better deals on tickets.
On the surface, yeah.
Yeah.
But we've got to factor in American Airlines here.
Yeah, American's a big player.
They're DFW's largest airline, and they can really influence how this all plays out.
Okay, so maybe not a sudden drop in prices like some people might be hoping for. But I'm curious, How has Americans' presence affected fares at their other big hubs? Could that give us a clue about what to expect at DFW?
That's a great question, and it's something that analysts are watching very closely. Historically, American hasn't always been known for, rock bottom prices, even at their hubs.
Oh, really?
They tend to focus more on convenience and what one analyst called a sense of tranquility for their passengers.
Tranquility over cheap fares. Interesting trade-off.
It is.
One of the analysts you sent us, Henry Hardevelt from Atmosphere Research Group, he suggested that American being so dominant might actually discourage other airlines from adding flights. Is that a common thing at airports like this?
It can be, especially in what's called a hub and spoke model.
Okay.
Think of it like a bicycle wheel. The hub is the main airport, and the spokes are all the routes going out to other cities. An airline like American benefits from controlling a lot of the traffic at their hub.
So if I'm like an average person flying through DFW, this hub and spoke system, this could mean fewer options from other airlines, right? Does that automatically mean higher prices?
It doesn't always mean higher prices, but it can limit the downward pressure that competition usually brings.
Okay.
However, Hardeveld also pointed out that DFW has a really strong presence of budget airlines, and he expects that to continue growing.
Okay, so there's still hope for us bargain hunters.
There is.
But even if prices don't suddenly drop, at least we'll have more choices in terms of places we can go, right? The analyst did say that more flights often lead to more places you can fly to directly.
He did, and that connects to DFW's ambition to reclaim the title of world's largest airport.
Oh yeah, they want that title back.
They do, but Hartfeld actually downplayed the importance of that label.
Oh really?
He emphasized that for travelers, what really matters is having that wide range of nonstop flights to choose from.
Yeah.
And, airlines being profitable enough to keep those routes going.
So it's not just about bragging rights for DFW. They want to be a truly global hub, but they also have to make it work financially.
Exactly.
Both for themselves and the airlines that are actually flying the planes.
Right.
But what does largest airport even mean? Is it...
What do you think, guys? It's pretty amazing. All that information that I feed with the AI, it's not like I just feed that conversation. I just feed with data, and the AI makes the conversation like a podcast. They have their own opinions. And they connect the dots between the data. So it's pretty amazing. It's like listening to two persons talking. Many people, if they start watching this live stream in the middle of it, maybe they don't realize it's an AI. So it's pretty amazing.
about physical size? Number of passengers? What are we talking about here?
It usually refers to passenger traffic,
Okay.
the number of people passing through each year. But as the analyst pointed out, that doesn't always mean a better experience for travelers or a more successful airport in the long run.
Okay, good to know. So size isn't everything. But speaking of size, this new Terminal F is going to be massive. 15 gates, just to start with, and it's going to be located where that Express South parking lot used to be. That's quite a change to the airport's layout, right?
Yes, and it's going to look different too. Unlike the crescent shape of the existing 5 terminals, Terminal F is going to have its own unique design. Be interesting to see how that impacts things like passenger flow and connections.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
But one thing's for sure, this is a long-term project.
Yeah, how long are we talking?
They're saying Terminal F won't be operational until 2027.
Wow, 2027. A lot can happen between now and then.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they're also working on those renovations to Terminals A and C, right? I remember seeing something on their website, like $3.2 billion.
That's right. So while we wait for the shiny new terminal, they're sprucing up the existing ones.
Makes sense.
And remember, that $3.2 billion, that's for renovations and expansions, including new gates at Terminals A and C. That's on top of the $1.6 billion for Terminal F itself. So they're making a serious investment.
Yeah, they're not messing around. So for someone like me who's actually, planning to fly through DFW the next few years, what's the bottom line here? On the one hand, we have these potential new destinations, updated amenities, maybe even, a less crowded airport. Sounds pretty good.
Potentially, yes. But as we discussed, the impact on ticket prices, that's still up in the air.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that.
American Airlines influence is definitely something to keep an eye on, and it might not be the the bonanza of cheap fares that some travelers are hoping for.
Yeah, that tranquility over cheap fares thing is sticking with me.
Right.
But at least the analyst mentioned that those budget airlines are already like well established at DFW, so maybe they'll help keep prices in check.
They could.
Do we know if any specific airlines have announced plans to expand their service to DFW, like alongside this whole project?
That's a question worth digging into. It might depend on how attractive those new gates and expanded facilities are to airlines. But, there's another piece to this puzzle.
Yeah.
And I think you find it really interesting. Remember that industrial real estate data you included?
Uh-huh.
There's a connection here.
Okay. I am all ears. How does an airport expansion tie into the world of warehouses and industrial space?
Well, think about it. A bigger airport means more businesses supporting the airport.
Right.
More employees, more logistics companies handling all the goods flowing in and out.
Makes sense.
All of that needs space. And according to the data you sent, the Dallas industrial market, it's actually experiencing a bit of a slowdown right now.
So you're saying this could be good news for someone like me who might be looking to lease some industrial space in the area?
It could be. It's all about supply and demand. And the data shows some trends that are pretty favorable to tenants right now.
Okay.
First, vacancy rates are increasing. They're currently at 9.5%, which means more options for tenants.
Okay. So more empty warehouses. Does that mean lower rents?
It could. And potentially more leverage for those looking for space.
Okay. I'm starting to see the silver lining here. Lower rent, more choices.
Yeah.
What else does the data tell us?
So as you can see, I feed the data about the market report on Dallas. That data is accurate. Actually, the vacancy rate between industrial properties is 9.5%. So, but I didn't told the AI to connect the dots between the data in the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport Expansion. So the AI connect the dots and they realize that the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport Expansion is gonna make the market, it's gonna create more demand, and it's gonna lower the vacancy rate. So it's their own conclusions of the AI.
So more empty warehouses mean lower rent. That's good news for businesses looking for space. But I'm also thinking if the airport's expanding and creating all this activity, shouldn't demand for industrial space be like going up, not down?
That's a great point, and it shows how complex these economic systems can be. There are multiple factors at play here. While the airport expansion is creating demand, there's also, a broader slowdown in the industrial market, not just in Dallas, but nationally.
So it's like a tug of war between these different forces.
Yeah.
What are some of the other factors that might be contributing to this slowdown?
Well, one factor is the rise of e-commerce. For a while, that shift to online shopping was driving huge demand for warehouse space, but that growth has started to kind of level off. We're also seeing some companies adjust their inventory strategies, in response to things like supply chain disruptions and economic uncertainty.
So maybe some businesses are being a bit more cautious about expanding right now?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to wrap my head around how this connects back to the airport.
Okay, so imagine a company that imports goods from overseas and then distributes them throughout the U.S.
Look.
They might need warehouse space near the airport to handle those shipments. Or think about businesses that provide services directly to the airport, like catering companies or maintenance crews, ground transportation. They all need space too.
Okay, so it's not just about the airlines themselves. It's about this whole network of businesses that depend on the airport in some way.
Exactly.
And if those businesses are being cautious about expanding, that could explain why we're seeing this slowdown in industrial real estate.
Exactly. And this slowdown is actually translating into some real benefits for tenants.
Okay.
Not only are vacancy rates increasing, but rent growth is also slowing down. It peaked at 10.8% annually, but it's now down to 4.3%.
That's a pretty big shift.
It is.
So it's not just about finding a space, it's also about getting a better deal on rent.
Yeah.
What about those concessions you mentioned earlier? What exactly does that mean?
So concessions are basically sweeteners that landlords offer to attract tenants.
Okay.
Think of it like getting a free month of rent or having the landlord.
And that information about the the Dallas industrial market. It's true. Uh, Actually, there are. It's like in a downturn, but in this year, maybe at the end of this year, it's gonna turn on the side of the. Right now, it's a tenant market, but I think, well, not I think, the report in the data says that at the end of 2025, it's gonna turn on the other side. So if you want to rent, to lease, to rent a warehouse here in Dallas, I think 2025 it's the year to do it, because at the end of the year it's gonna the things that are gonna turn the other way.
Or cover some of your build out costs.
Okay.
In the Dallas market, concessions for logistics spaces are currently around $10 to $12 per square foot.
Wow, that's a pretty good incentive. So to sum up, for businesses that are looking for industrial space in the Dallas area, it sounds like there's a real opportunity here.
Yeah.
Vacancy rates are up, rent growth is down, and landlords are offering concessions. Who knew that an airport expansion could lead to such favorable conditions for tenants?
It's all about understanding those ripple effects. And this is where digging into those micro trends can give you a real edge.
Okay.
The data also highlights some specific opportunities in submarkets with a strong manufacturing presence or logistical advantages.
Okay. So location still matters. It's not just about finding any old empty warehouse. What are some of the specific submarkets that kind of stand out in the data?
Two areas that caught my eye are Northeast Tarrant County and Southeast Dallas.
Okay.
They've both seen significant industrial development in recent years, and they're well positioned to benefit from this airport expansion.
So if someone is looking for industrial space in the Dallas area, these submarkets might be a good place to start their search. Do we know anything about the types of businesses that are already concentrated in these areas?
That's a great question, and one that a good real estate broker could help answer. But just based on the data we have, Northeast Tarrant County has a strong presence of manufacturing and logistics companies,
Okay.
while Southeast Dallas is seeing a surge in data center development.
Data centers, that's interesting. I remember that CoStar report.
That's right. Northeast Tarrant County, it's very close to the Dallas Forward Airport. So that's where they say it's manufacturing business that are leasing in that area. And I think it's Southeast Dallas. It's more like because it's very far from the airport. It's many information technology companies are building or leasing infrastructure warehouses for infrastructure for the cloud infrastructure. So those are the two sub markets that are developing right now in Dallas.
Report mentioned something about data centers potentially becoming like a dominant force in the Southeast Dallas submarket. Is Dallas becoming like a tech hub on top of everything else?
It's certainly a possibility. We already know that Google is expanding their data center presence in the Southwest Dallas submarket. And with this increasing demand for data storage and processing, it makes sense that companies would be attracted to a place like DFW.
Where land is relatively affordable, there's plenty room to build, and there's a growing tech workforce. It all adds up. Okay, so we've got the travel industry, the real estate angle, and now a potential tech boom fueled by data centers. This airport expansion is really shaking things up. But I'm also wondering, what about the airlines themselves? What does this expansion mean for them beyond just having more gates?
Well, remember that analyst we mentioned earlier, Henry Herdefeld?
Yeah.
He talked about how DFW is strategically positioning itself to capitalize on global aviation trends.
Okay.
And that includes the role of airline alliances.
Right. American Airlines is a member of the One World Alliance, so potentially more flights from their partners.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where we'll see some of those new international destinations.
It's possible. Alliances play a big role in global aviation. They allow airlines to coordinate routes, share resources, and offer more seamless travel experiences for passengers. And with DFW aiming to be a global hub, strengthening those alliance partnerships is key.
So more potential for international travel out of DFW. That's exciting. But I'm also thinking about the competition within those alliances. Do we know if any other One World members have a significant presence at DFW right now?
That's a good question. And it highlights how these alliances can also create some internal competition.
Oh, interesting.
For example, both British Airways and Qantas, both One World members, already operate flights to DFW. So there's this balance to be struck between collaboration and competition within these alliances.
So even with American Airlines as the dominant player, there's still a lot of room for other airlines to grow their presence at DFW. That's good news for travelers. But it also makes me wonder, with all this expansion and competition, how confident are we that prices will stay reasonable? I know the analysts mentioned that budget airlines have a strong presence at DFW, but can they really hold their own against the bigger players?
That's a valid concern. The analyst did point out that the DFW area is, economically attractive to airlines. Dallas-Fort Worth is a booming region, so there's definitely a market for travel. But he also highlighted the fierce competition in the airline industry. He specifically mentioned Southwest Airlines' strong presence at Love Field, just a short distance from DFW.
Ah, yes, Southwest. They're known for shaking things up with their low fares. So that could keep things interesting, even with Americans' dominance at DFW. So maybe there's hope for us bargain hunters after all. But even if ticket prices don't plummet, at least it sounds like travelers will benefit from more options, both in terms of airlines and destinations.
I think that's a fair assessment. More gates, potential new destinations, and hopefully some price pressure from competitors. It's not a bad combination.
So we've covered the travel impact, the real estate implications, the potential for a data center boom. What else can we glean from this mountain of information?
Well, remember those recent significant sales figures from the CoStar reports?
Ah,
Those give us a glimpse into investor sentiment and activity in the DFW real estate market.
right, those multi-million-dollar deals. Anything stand out to you?
A few things, yeah. First, it's interesting to see that private buyers are driving a lot of the activity.
Really?
We're seeing family offices, investment firms. They're clearly seeing opportunities in this market.
Which makes sense given the slowdown we talked about. It's a buyer's market, so they're probably finding some good deals.
Yeah, it's as the AI say, it's a buyer's market right now. So as I told you, it's time to buy because right now cap rates are compressed because the over inventory. There are many inventory, too much inventory, and lower demand. So cap rates are compressing. So it makes a buyer market.
Deals. But what are they buying? Are we seeing a particular type of property or asset class that's attracting their attention?
That's a sharp question, and it leads to another interesting point. We're seeing trends like sale-leaseback agreements becoming more common.
Okay.
Companies are looking for ways to, boost their liquidity in this higher interest rate environment. So they're selling their properties and then leasing them back.
So it's not just about buying and selling property. It's about creative financing strategies, too.
Yeah.
That's really insightful.
Do the CoStar reports give any indication of where these investors are focusing their attention geographically? Are there any particular submarkets that are seeing a lot of activity?
Absolutely. We're seeing a geographic concentration of activity in some of the same submarkets we discussed earlier. Northeast Tarrant County and Southeast Dallas are both attracting a lot of investor interest.
So it's like those maps they show on the news with the heat signatures. We're seeing those hot spots in real time through this data. It's all connected. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Travel, real estate, investment, technology. What's the overall takeaway here? What's the so what for our listener?
I think the key message is this. Infrastructure projects like the DFW Airport Expansion, they have far-reaching consequences.
Yeah.
They're not just about the project itself. It's about the ripple effects, the interconnectedness.
The domino effect. One thing leads to another, and suddenly you have a whole new landscape. Exactly. And understanding those dominoes, those connections, that's how you make informed decisions, whether you're a traveler, an investor, or just someone living in the DFW area.
So it's not just about knowing what's happening. It's about understanding why it matters and how it might impact your own life.
Precisely. And that brings us to the most intriguing part of this deep dive. What's next? We've seen the present, but what does the future hold for DFW?
Ooh, good question. Our crystal ball's a little foggy, but luckily we have some clues hidden in these sources.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can uncover. What jumps out at you? So we talked about data centers popping up in Southeast Dallas. Is that the biggest clue about DFW's future? Could we see this area become like a major tech hub, a southern Silicon Valley?
It's a possibility. Think about it. DFW already has a lot going for it. Available land, a business-friendly environment, and a growing workforce.
Yeah.
Those are all things that attract tech companies, especially those building massive data centers.
Okay, so maybe data center capital should be added to DFW's list of ambitions. But if data centers become a major force in the region, what happens to those other industries we discussed?
I just want to point out that I don't think Dallas will become a Silicon Valley. Even Austin is like 3 hours away. But maybe a warehouse point for data centers. I think it is already a hub for that kind of infrastructure, but not. I don't think for startups or for technology companies, but for these big companies like Oracle or Microsoft or Google to build their data centers, of course, I think it is and it will become a bigger hub for that.
Could this shift away from traditional manufacturing and logistics?
That's a great question. It's not necessarily a zero-sum game, though. The growth of data centers could create new opportunities and even attract complementary businesses to the area.
Oh, like what kind of businesses?
Well, for example, companies specializing in cybersecurity or data analytics, they might be drawn to a region with a concentration of data centers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And think about the demand for specialized construction and engineering firms to build and maintain these facilities.
Right.
It's not just about the servers and the data, it's about the entire infrastructure that supports them.
So this could be a ripple effect with a whole new set of ripples. We started by talking about the impact on travelers and airlines, then we looked at real estate and investments, and now we're seeing this potential tech boom with data centers and the businesses that follow. It's kind of mind-boggling how one project can create so much change.
It is fascinating. And for anyone listening, this is where things get really interesting. We've uncovered the trends, the data, but the future is still unwritten.
So what does this all mean for someone like living in or doing business in the DFW area? What should they be paying attention to as this all unfolds?
I would say pay attention to those sub-market trends we've been talking about.
Good.
If you're in real estate, where is the development happening? What types of businesses are moving in?
Right.
If you're an investor, where are the opportunities emerging? And for anyone living in the region, how is this growth impacting your community, your job market, even your commute?
It's about connecting the dots.
Yeah.
Seeing those dominoes fall and understanding how those changes might impact your own life. It's
Yeah.
not just about planes and warehouses anymore. It's about the future of a whole region and how that future is being shaped, like right now.
Absolutely. And that's what makes these deep dives so valuable. We've taken a ton of information, we've extracted the key insights, but the real discovery begins when you apply that knowledge to your own situation, your own decisions.
So for everyone listening, here's a final thought to ponder. If DFW is betting big on becoming this global hub, what other industries might be drawn to the area in the years to come? What impact could that have on your business, your investments, or even just your daily life? Keep those sources coming, and we'll keep digging deeper together.
Okay, and that's all. What do you think, guys? Write your comments. Put your comments in the comment section. This time I didn't formulate a question for the AI because I don't have people on the chat, but maybe it's the first transmission I make. I hope in the next transmission I will have more people, and I will if you formulate a good question, I will ask that question to the AI, because there's an interactive mode that the AI can answer the question. But I'm just amazed of how accurate and very well done is this podcast with the AI. It's practically like you are listening to a real podcast between two real people. But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about the quality? How the people how the AI connect the dogs, how it structures all the podcast, the accuracy and the of the information. What do you think about what other comments do you have? How can I improve this channel, these next transmissions? Please put your comments and follow me and give a like. Thank you. Bye.